Look what I found. Once again searching to my old files, I guess this is the best representation of Black Desert from way back when stuff like this still happened. In any case, welcome to the Centaurs version of this spot breaking series. Today's topic, well, it's gonna be Centaurs. Again, I'm going to be discussing about the money per hour on this place, basically my experience with the area, how much I made and stuff like that. I mean, at this point you already know how this series works because, again, there have been enough videos to the point where I believe this isn't the first one you saw. So usually I begin with my gear, so I guess I'm gonna start the same way today as well. In terms of my gear, I'm going to use the same clip from the stars and video just because these days my gear is a little bit different. I finished testing Centaurs a couple of days ago. I just never got to make the video until now, and these days my gear is a little bit different because I already moved into testing the Monastery area and a little bit of Mirumok ruins. So in these last couple of days my gear no longer looks like this. I'm just gonna say that. What I realized after testing this place and after making the Excel spreadsheet is that Centaurs is actually pretty similar to the Waragon nest area in terms of how much money you can make, the black magic crystal drop rates, and stuff like that. I do believe that here you need a decent amount of AP to actually get this much money, just because normally most people they don't one-shot Centaurs. I believe most people who are even interested in checking out this place, they don't really have this much AP. I believe I had 270 with a KAGTUM when I did this place, so that's literally overkill, and probably most people will check out this place with maybe 220 with a KAGTUM or 230 AP, something like that. And if you have only that much AP, I'm not sure if you can actually one-shot the packs and can replicate what I got, but maybe you can. Again, this is my experience. In terms of the rotation, I started with a pretty big rotation with the one I used way back when I did the spot review for this place, the huge rotation that is, let's just say, not very optimal. And after a couple of hours I tried to make the rotation smaller, just because, again, I felt like I had way too many monsters and way too much travel time. So in the end I settled for the one you see on playing in the background, and this is literally the only rotation I ever used on this place. For this video and for other videos I never really searched for other rotations. I know someone sent me on my mail a long time ago information with other rotations, and I'm pretty sure this place has at least 3 usable rotations, so maybe try to search for other rotations here if you see this one being taken, especially after this video comes out. So again, this is the one I used. It's not the only one that is usable or good, but again, this is what I used. I don't even know why I'm repeating that so many times. Anyway, once the rotation is done, I guess at this point it is done, I would like to point out a couple of things for this place that kind of stand out. First of all, the black magic crystal drop rate is pretty good, so that's a given, but I will repeat that once I get into the Excel file. What I wanted to mention is that this place doesn't really make it very easy to manage your inventory. You get a lot of different items, and after the first couple of hours I had every single storage bought in Sungrain Bazaar just so I can store all of the items there, and after a couple of hours I even had to move a couple of them into the the marketplace storage, just so I can keep everything. Usually on my tests I don't have any problems with keeping every single item until the end so that I can show all of them, but in this case I had to move all of the black magic crystals and the Rokaba helmets just to manage the bank space. So I would say if you plan to grind this place for a couple of hours, 1 hour after the other, you might run into inventory issues. In terms of weight limit issues, the trash is okay. It's not exactly very light. You cannot really grind 1 full hour without having to drop your trash onto the horse, but on the rotation that I used, it's pretty easy to park the horse right in the middle of the rotation, and you can literally just drop drop the trash on the horse as you are passing through the rotation. So that wasn't really an issue with a trash weight limit, but it can be. Again, the trash is not very light, but it is manageable. So that's basically it in terms of my first impressions. Looking at the Excel spreadsheet, I mean, I already tested Centaurs in the past, so it's not exactly a first impression of the area, but still, this is the only time I'm testing this place with a loot scroll, the normal loot scrolls, a Kamassive Blessing, and the so-called Arsha server, aka the event buff. So again, I was expecting to get a decent amount of money. I knew that this place has a very good drop rate for black magic crystals. You can see them like this just because this entire row here is my marketplace storage. This one is what I extracted the blackstones from these Rokaba helmets. So all of the enhanced Rokaba helmets were extracted for blackstones. That's why you see two types of blackstones here, but still, this is everything that I got from the 7 hours. I did the first 6 hours, if I didn't already mention this, with the event drop rate buff until the so-called maintenance that we didn't have this week. And after the maintenance, initially I wanted to push for at least 8 hours, but I didn't have the time, and after the buff was over, I went for a 7th hour. Initially I wanted to go again for 8 hours, but I realized that the drop rate for the black magic crystals kind of went down without the Arsha buff, so I decided to stop the test earlier. I would say you can replicate my money per hour, the 105 millions, if you grind this place with the Arsha buff, because it does help with the black magic crystal drop rates. And again, this place has probably at least three rotations, so probably Arsha is doable. I don't know how contested it is, but it should be okay, especially if you grind, let's say, overnight. In any case, for the breakdown, I made a total of about 30 millions per hour from the trash itself, trash and other trash items. I believe the poachers here do spawn. I think I killed only 1 or 2 of those, so not very good spawn rate for those, but still. The scrolls are okay in drop rate. I mean, I've seen better. 8 per hour is not amazing, but it's decent. The Centaur belts are, I guess, exactly what I was expecting. Like, it doesn't seem to be broken. Maybe I was a little bit RNG carried with getting 1 Centaur belt per hour. Some of them came from opening those soiled pieces, others were basically belt drops, but I got 7 in 7 hours, so 1 per hour. They are only 15 millions each, so it's not very expensive, but it's still nice to see that you get them probably as often as the setup drops on other areas like Falcons, Nagas, Waragon Nest. The Blackstone drop rate is, I guess, pretty bad. You're getting about 12 Blackstones in total per hour with all of these drop rate buffs, so it's definitely not amazing. You're gonna see a couple of them here and there, but pretty rarely, I would say. Iona fragments, I always hate these. One of the reasons why I don't really like to grind in Valencia, I mean, most people probably don't know this, but I usually tend to avoid Valencia because I hate managing Iona fragments to have to craft them into crescent rings to actually give, to actually be able to use them properly. But still, here the drop rate seems to be kind of bad compared to other places, I believe. Or maybe it was decent. I got 1.3 Iona fragments per hour, and I know at Waragon Nest I got at least 3 of these per hour, so the drop rate here seems to be worse. Caphara stones are pretty much the same for most Valencia spots. I got about 2.5 of them per hour, so it's not amazing, but most Valencia spots are similar in terms of Caphara stone drop rates. The dust is almost inexistent. You might see one of them, one dust per hour, maybe. Often you don't get any. The Centaur belt pieces, the soiled pieces, I got quite a lot of those. On average, I got 7.5 of them per hour. So with better RNG luck opening those soiled pieces, you might get actually more Centaur belts than I did. Forest Breath, I only got one of these. For whatever reason, I got one in 7 hours, so the drop rate is probably almost inexistent. You're not gonna make any money from those. And then you have Black Magic Crystals and Rokaba Helmets. Rokaba Helmets these days are very cheap, so you do get a decent amount of those, about 5.5 helmets per hour. They are a little bit annoying because they have some weight to them and they take inventory space and they are not very profitable, but hey, maybe someday the price will go up. And besides that, most of your income, like maybe half of the income, if not at least a third of it, will come from the Black Magic Crystals. You will get in total 5 types of Black Magic Crystals, these here, and I bundled these 4 basically into just one because usually almost all of them are around the same price on the marketplace. Currently I used the sturdiness one from a previous Excel file above for the price, and usually they are around 5 million each, so these days Black Magic Crystals are pretty profitable. That's why I say it's about a third of your income. The only one that stands out is the precision one for the weapon, because that one is always sold out. People want this one for their weapons, you know, the accuracy and ignore resistance gem. So this is, I believe, the only Black Magic Crystal that is maxed out at 6 millions. That's why this one is different, and the other ones, you know, around 5 millions each. In total, I was getting, let's say, about 8.5 Black Magic Crystals per hour on average, so that's pretty good. I believe this is better than what I got at Waragon Nest, but it's pretty RNG. I had hours, I remember, when I got, I believe, 12. On one of these hours, I got 12 or 13 of these Black Magic Crystals, so it is RNG, but on average about 8.5 per hour. My trash, actually I didn't even mention this, my trash per hour was close to 9,000 with the normal loot scroll, so this is basically what you want to aim for if you want to be able to replicate my money per hour value. If you do some quick math, I mean, you can easily scale this up or down if you want, because again, I'm pretty sure most people will not be able to one-shot the monsters, and maybe you're not gonna be able to push for 9,000 trash per hour. If that's the case, then just take the 9,000 trash per hour clearing speed, and let's say you clear at 5,000, then just scale down this money per hour value, and it should give you an idea of what to expect here. In my case, 105 millions is pretty good. It's actually a little bit higher than what I got at Waragon Nest, and in terms of being contested, I remember I tested Waragon Nest also with the Arsha server, so they are basically 1-to-1 ratio in terms of what buffs I used. So if I had to choose, I think I personally would go to Waragons, just because it seems to be, I guess, a little bit more remote and maybe less people grind it. I don't know if these days it's changed, but basically for my conclusion, I would say if you're looking just purely in terms of money per hour, Centaurs seems to be basically the same as Waragons in terms of that, the money per hour value. So pick whichever one you want, whichever one seems closer. I would honestly recommend Centaurs if you need to grind for some Black Magic Crystals. I believe people use Black Magic Crystals to make Manos accessories or armor pieces, Manos stuff for life scaling. I might be wrong, but again, if you need a lot of these Black Magic Crystals, then maybe consider grinding Centaurs, especially if you broke one of your precision gems for the weapon. These usually are in very high pre-orders on the marketplace, usually a couple hundreds of pre-orders, so if you don't have the patience to wait for a pre-order, then maybe come here, grind for like 20 minutes, and you should drop one of these pretty easily. So that's going to be it. I kind of wanted this to be a quick video, but I'm pretty sure it turned out just as long as the usual ones, because again, these days I moved away from here. I'm in the middle of testing the Blood Monastery area when I get a partner to test that place, and also in the same time I'm testing Mirumok ruins, so you can expect one of those to be the next video to come out. I'm gonna leave you with probably the happiest feeling someone can get in Black Desert, me hitting a pen for the first time. I mean, it's not the first time because I also made my pen heave helmet, but that one doesn't really count as a real pen. And right after that, the realization that I didn't want to succeed at enhancement. I was expecting it to fail, so I never really took out my Khafra stones from my dandy. I had the level 4 Khafras, which I believe that's around 1,500 Khafra stones maybe, and I just lost all of those by hitting pen. Still, very nice. Basically the reason why I decided to move into Blood Monastery is because now I have a decent AP to actually try that place out. Until next time, well, stay happy, grind this place if you want. Hopefully it will not become too contested, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.